financial decisions, so they don't impart any wisdom on the children. And so then the cycle continues where the children may know how to take care of the home, or the girl may learn how to cook as a teenager, but understanding how to balance a checkbook, understanding how to set up a proper budget, understanding the stock market, understanding your financial options is never really discussed until it's too late.
A lot of, and I think you're right, because a lot of us, we actually have the means to take care of ourselves. But the issue for some, I'm not saying for all of us, but for some, the issue is deeply rooted in overspending. And I like that you brought up budgeting.
Yes,
absolutely. But do you feel, either of you feel like the Black community, some of them choose to stay ignorant, like because they're so set in their ways, like, at this point?
Definitely. I want to speak to that because a lot of people, what I've seen in personal finance perspective from coaching people and helping people to strategize is the first thing they say is, I don't want to look at it. Right? Because they don't want to face the reality.
Yeah.
And so in a lot of areas of our lives, when we start to feel overwhelmed, then we don't want to face the reality. So they'll rather continue to push it under the rug.
Well, let me say this, because I love that you said we don't want to face the realities, but that's the purpose of today's show. We actually want to face the realities. So before we delve into the solutions, we've already identified the problems. Okay. So what we want to do is, Cammy and I want to identify our current financial solutions. I'll let you start. You want to kind of talk about what you have going on in your finances?
Okay, sure. Now, if you really want to go first,
or whatever, I'll go first.
Go.
All right. Well, so I'm a freelancer. I do not have a corporate job. Okay. So I don't have access to a 401k, nor have I signed up for any IRAs. All right. So you just flinched at me. You like, no, it's cool, but it's gonna get better. It's gonna get It's gonna get better. All right. So my savings account has been depleted. I know it sounds like it's getting worse, but it's getting there. It's coming. Stay with me. All right. My savings account has been depleted, but my financial education, and I just want to articulate this well, my financial education is on fleek. All right.
Expound on that.
Expound on it. Well, I took Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University, and I've been studying the stock market since December, and we are currently in June. So it's been about a 7 month journey in learning that. And I recently entered into my first live trade last month. And so though I know a 401k can increase my retirement funds, what I want to do is use the stock market to start a retirement account and grow it at an accelerated rate, because I just hit 35 years old. So I recognize that I'm late. So I have a roommate, and I keep my overhead low. That is my situation. Camille?
Well, I work in corporate America, and I do have a 401k, and I also have a Roth as well. So we're a little bit different. I do have a healthy savings account, and I actually just put my home up for sale, and I'm currently at home with my parents, so that kind of helps to, save, and I think that's why I have a healthy savings account. But in difference to Carlene, I am very ignorant to like the stock market and all that stuff. Like, we actually just have someone come into the office because we switched who our plan was with for our 401ks, and I was just like,
yeah.
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about, but I'll record it. I did record it.
And do you care to disclose your age?
Oh yeah, I'm 30 years old.
Okay. All right. So you can see that we have two totally different situations. And it's interesting because when I was in corporate America, I did have a 401k, and I think I would have probably been in that same state, but I think my struggle as a freelancer has propelled me into that, it's propelled me into financial education. I mean, I basically recognize that I have an issue, so, there it is. I don't know where you guys want to start, because we gave you a lot of information to kind of chew on.
Okay.
But go ahead, somebody. Yeah.
So it's a couple things. These are two very different dynamics. Perspective is everything. In this country, we're conditioned to think that we need a 401k and a corp, right? So a source of or an investment tool to serve you in retirement, or to serve you in feeling some level of financial freedom and peace, it doesn't matter where it comes from, right? So as a freelancer, perspective-wise, there are some things that you can do, like set up an IRA and do exactly what she's doing with the 401k. The difference is that because she's in corporate America, more than likely she's having a contribution from the company, right? But you still can make progress where you are. A couple things that I did not hear from either of you is budget, a plan, and a strategy.
I mean, you're right.
Probably because I ain't got one.
Right.
So that's the start, right? So we've identified current status, right?
Yes.
And so then the next thing is, where do you realistically want to be by the end of this year, 5 years, 10 years? And then based on that, putting together a budget, a plan, and a strategy so that you have action steps to be able to execute. Right?
That's good.
I'll let you take it.
I will, I would look at it, the first thing you gotta say, she was right, having a plan. The first thing you gotta look at is, you gotta ask yourself the question, am I ready to invest? Let's be honest, everybody that says, hey, I wanna invest, you're not ready. Because if you don't have a savings, guess what? You're not ready to invest, right? Let's say if you put some money to the side and let's say if you're like, okay, I got $500 or $1,000 and I want to go, put money into the market as far as a stock or ETF, whatever the case may be, and your car breaks down. Now what? Guess what happened on Friday? The Dow Jones dropped 600 points, right? So your $1,000 may be worth, in value, it may be worth $600 right now. Now you went and took a $400 loss to go get your car fixed. You know what I mean? So the first question you got to ask, you got to have is, well, not the first question to ask, but the first thing you got to have is a savings, right? You got to have a savings, you got to have an emergency to say, okay, if something hit the fan, it can't be your investments. Like, oh, I'm just going to sell my whatever stock when, when I need some money. That can't be the outlook. You got to have a savings first. Then on top of that, having savings, you got to look at how much debt you guys have. You got credit cards, you got loans, you got
student loans.
Y'all didn't disclose that. Why?
You know what? I didn't think about
Maybe
that.
lack of planning when we put together this.
No, that's because when you got debt, that's a bill.
Yeah,
It is. You're right.
That's a monthly expense, right? Or it should be. Or you paying your bills. I hope you are, right? But that's the question I ask yourself. Like, okay, well, it don't make sense if I'm on the stock market making 5%, but my credit card is charging 15.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Oh, look, hey, look, I just purchased my first stock and it's doing this and I made this, but hey, guess what? You got to go pay Visa or whatever Bank of America the case may be, and it's getting 15% a month or something like that. So you got to have a caution to pay down that debt before you're ready to invest.
And all of that sounds good, and let me say, I'm educated enough to understand and realize those things without you having told me. And I almost feel like I'm going back to 5 years old when I say this, so please keep this in perspective. But it's hard as a freelancer. And so I really don't know. How can I put this better? I don't know what I bring home on a monthly basis.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So that for me is the struggle.
Okay, so you may not be on a particular, I didn't cut you off, but you may not be on a particular schedule, but you can, when you do get money, or when your money does come in, you can say, hey, 10%, you know how we say, hey, 10% we're going to tithe?
Yes.
You got to say, well, when I do get paid, 20% is going to go here. If I get $1,000 this time, I want to take $200 and it's going to go sit here. I'm going to take $100, sit here, that type of way, to give you some type of stability.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
One thing that I want to highlight for you, Carlene, as a freelancer, the way you navigate your financial situation may need to be different from how Camia navigates her situation. And let me add some color to that. Whereas she has a 401k, she has a job that has benefits for her, she has a set income, she has the ability to prove income through pay stubs and through tax returns. You don't necessarily have that, right? But in strategizing, right, which is a huge part of what I focus on, in strategizing, you can find ways to still get what you need and work around certain things. For example, with the student loans, in theory, we would want to pay the full student loan amount, right?
Right.
Some people's student loans
Forgiveness and programs.
are $500 a month. Okay? Because of her income level, her student loans may be $200 to $500 a month. Whereas because you are a freelancer and because you have inconsistent income, you have to find ways to make that work for you.
So give me a way.
So for example, there are programs out there, like the Obama has come out with a program to where it will go based on your income.
Mhm.
And there are people who are paying $40 a month for 5 years, and then after that, the loans are forgiven because it's based on the provable income. And provable is the operative word there.
So I like what you're saying. Let me ask you this question. Because I've Googled those. How do you know if it's credible? How do you know it's not just because if you Google,
See
Yeah.
10,000 programs out there.
Yeah.
On that.
Yeah.
so how can a person, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The big thing that the big thing when I look at that, big thing I look at is what is the interest on it.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest things I look at. If you can get the interest down or what that interest is, because interest is everything.
Mm-hmm.
Versus I owe $10,000. We both can owe $10,000, but if mine's 10% is yours 1%, a credit card versus a car loan, the interest rate is.
But can't you,
Right.
like, with a credit card, I mean, maybe not everybody knows this, but can't you just call them and say, hey, I need my interest rate changed, I need it, negotiate.
Hey, you can
And I just want to say that
negotiate
because some listeners may not know you can actually call
Mhm.
your creditors,
So regarding the student loan piece, doing research on the company is a huge part to find one that is more reputable, right? Doing the research, talking to people, seeing what their track record is like. But here's why I bring that up as for you navigating your financial situation differently. In corporate America, one of the main things that I was responsible for was strategy. Companies put a lot of energy into, okay, let's see how we can operate, and they call it's cost avoidance. So they will put resources, right? They'll pay me my salary of $110 every year to look at the budget, to look at how we can avoid costs, to look at how we can save costs. That is a huge focus. That $110 that they paid me every year was saving them millions in cost avoidance. So it's worth the time and the energy. If you can pay $25 a month to her $200 to $500 a month, that puts you in a very different scenario. So education is a huge part, right? We talked about that, but then looking at your situation and seeing how you can navigate it to your benefit. Because if you're saving $200 to $500 on student loan payments, then that makes a big difference towards what your savings account is going to look like, or what your investment account is going to look like. So, we have to make time to really understand and strategize in what's right in our situation.
I understand and really like what you just said, but there was something that you said I actually wanted to expound on. And I know what Dave Ramsey says, and I know what the next person says, and I know what the next person says, but what do you say that your savings account should look like prior to
Investing.
Well, investing or anything else that you want to do?
I would say your expenses, right? How much does it cost you to operate? Operating expense. For me to live, I know I pay this much in mortgage, and I pay for my car, me to eat, to survive, and I will multiply that times 6.
So that's what you need in your savings.
I would say between 3 to 6 of that. Then also another piece I look at is you got to look at your particular job and your situation.
Yeah.
You know that, hey, my job is, I don't know when I'm going to get hired. I can lose my job at any time. Then I would look at, maybe we want to go out a little bit further.
Which is a reality for a lot of people,
Yeah.
whether we want to face it or not.
But to be realistic, to have a savings account, depending on who you are, you might have to make a sacrifice. Some people choose to put leisure activities before saving or before paying bills. So you need to understand, you have to kind of put that aside.
Like in certain situations, okay, well, in the next 6 months, I know the likelihood of me not having a check is pretty unlikely. So you got, you can be more, be more lenient to that 6-month rule, right? So I wouldn't say, oh, I can't do any investing until I get to this point or whatever. But I would look at it, say, for example, like you say, I don't have a corporate job, so I don't have access to a 401k. But what's stopping you from opening up a brokerage account, right? What's stopping you from investing?
I have one. I'm proud of that.
Exactly right. So, but what's stopping you from buying the ETF that tracks the S&P 500?
I have that. I'm proud of that.
Right.
And that's great. But some people don't even, they may have a savings. A lot of our people that we deem as successful, they have the nice job, they have the nice car, they have the supposedly
But that's
stable.
surface success.
Right. They have the supposedly stable income, But when it goes beyond, I have a savings account and I'm receiving money on a regular basis, they don't even know the difference between an ETF and a mutual fund.
Wow.
Should they go to Edward Jones and start a brokerage account, or should they go to, TD Ameritrade where they can be able to make their own decisions? And that is where our financial education has to definitely increase in the community.
And let me stop you. Two things that we talked about earlier. First of all, we want to say Dave Ramsey is just another self-proclaimed expert who kind of
Personal
hit hard
finance.
times and
Personal finance.
personal finance expert, and he hit hard times, and he managed to, through his envelope system and other different tactics, got himself out of debt. Mortgages paid for, and now he's like helped millions of people around the world.
And he's a millionaire now.
He's a millionaire at that. So the other thing I want to make sure we explain clearly to our listeners is you mentioned an ETF, and I'm having a brain fart. Excuse me. ETF stands for
Exchange traded fund.
exchange or exchange.
I'm glad you said that.
Okay, thank you. And ETF. Well, that's enough for right now. But go ahead. Your point.
Well, the thing about ETFs that she hinted on, like versus a mutual fund, is that it's passive. You
Yes.
know, passive versus active with a mutual fund. A mutual fund, you got fund managers, and it's the biggest thing that separation that I've seen is fees.
Mm-hmm.
Because when something is passively managed, you don't have to. It just goes. It's just like, hey, I'm going to sit here. I'm going to track the S&P 500. That's my job. I'm going to mimic the S&P 500. When it goes up, it goes up. It goes down, it goes down.
Now, what's the S&P 500? Just briefly.
The S&P 500 is an index, right? It's an index it's a benchmark in finance, and it's the index that tracks our top 500 companies.
Okay.
And
That represent the U.S. economy.
Okay.
So they try to mimic the U.S. economy with the S&P 500.
and think about it. If you're the top 500 in America, you're probably top 5 in the globe. You know what I'm saying? Or most of them are. All our companies are global. Right?
But what's cool about, I think when he said invest in an ETF, it trades like a stock.
Yeah.
Oh, does it?
One
Okay.
stock.
You can buy it. And it pays dividends.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And so if you wanted to invest, say, in Apple as a company, it would make more sense for you to invest in the S&P 500
Right.
because Apple is included in that.
Mhm.
And so now Apple's a bad example, but
Well,
let's just say Apple wasn't as large of a company as it is. If Apple took a hit, one company in a basket of 500 will not necessarily negatively impact your
Okay.
investment. Does that make sense?
No, it does.
And the thing about it, S&P 500 is not loyal to a particular company. Like if you drop without that, if you drop without the top 500 and some new thing like Facebook comes along,
Mhm.
then Facebook is now tracked. Apple is no longer tracked.
Oh, well, I
That's
didn't
a
know.
good point you wanted
That's
to
a
make.
good point.
Yeah.
The other thing too is he did highlight it as a passive investment, and that's for the people who don't want to be actively engaged.
Okay.
But if you chose to educate more, then you could easily use those ETFs in a more active
Okay.
position as
But
well.
if you invest into that index, are you investing into all those companies underneath that? Okay.
And the thing about it is that benchmark is going to beat like 99 to 100% of mutual funds that are out there.
Okay.
If you do it over time, if you do it over like 10 years, yeah, you may have a year. Some may be there for a month, some may be there for a year, but over a consistent basis, the S&P 500 usually beats most of the mutual funds that are out there.
without the mutual fund fees.
Exactly.
Okay. That's cool.
So, mutual fund is just a basket of stock. It's like me, for example, if I wanted to create an aggressive fund for you or whatever, right? I'll take Apple and I'll throw a little bit, like you go grocery shopping, you put this in there, you put that in there, or whatever. And now you are invested. Anybody that invested, they get that whole basket. Then plus me being a fund manager, you gotta have fees because I'm managing this for you, all the yada 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 or whatever. So it's actively managed. Somebody's in there trying to, maybe beat the market or whatever your fund objective is. Versus the ETF is just passive. Like you can get an ETF on gold.
Okay.
You just be like, hey, just track gold.
And so
Okay.
what that would mean is if you got an ETF on gold or a specific industry, say if you're passionate about retail,
Yeah.
right? So you could get an ETF that would include the major retail companies and the supporting companies.
Okay.
Right? So some of the manufacturers, some of the distribution companies. So you would get a collection,
Right.
collection of everything that supports that particular industry.
So which one's better for like a newcomer, or are they both kind of?
The indexes are great for newcomers, I
Okay.
think, because when you get one in a specific industry, you need to follow that industry close enough to know what's going on.
But I want to also just clarify, and you guys can help me make sure that I'm saying this correctly. But I want to clarify that there is a difference between an index and an ETF. And so for a newcomer, I chose the ETF. Now there's two versions. The S&P 500 has an ETF, and the S&P 500 has an index. They're both pretty much the same thing, and they both have the same 500 companies, but the ETF is cheaper, whereas the S&P 500 is currently trading at the $200 mark, 202, 200, I don't know what it is, but the S&P 500 index is trading in the $2,000 mark.
Okay.
And so that's the difference. So me, newcomer, which one am I going for? Index or ETF? ETF.
You have like index funds. Like the big thing I see like between mutual funds and index funds, and also the ETFs is the fees. That's always been. I haven't seen anybody that beat the ETF yet as far as fees.
Are they monthly fees?
Well, the fees are taken out of the fund itself, right?
Okay.
You don't pay it. It's not like, hey, they're gonna knock me.
All right.
Hey, where's the fee or whatever? But let's say, for example, if you get a 10% return, I got to get mine off the top. Now your 10% return, maybe 8%.
Okay, got you.
You know business. So yeah. So but when you add that up over 10, 20, 30, 40 years, those things add up. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
So, man, this has been great. I kind of deviated from the outline.
You want to take it back to the people that are just needing to save.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I like that. Thank you for that, because I wanted to say I did have a healthy savings account. I got into two car accidents in one day, so that's what depleted my savings account. It was actually quite healthy, so I am actually just waiting on my settlements.
Okay.
So that being the case, I don't want people looking like, dang, she dumb, she ain't got no savings account, but she invested in the stock market.
You gotta stop worrying about what people think.
You're right about that. But I wanted to, if I have this platform and I'm kind of a voice, at some point I may become, I don't know, a role model. And so it's for me, it's not that I care what people think, it's just more so I know the steps to take and I'm doing it in the right order. Savings account did come first for me.
There's something I want to highlight that is key to what you're saying. Now, in this country, health insurance is a requirement.
Yes.
And sometimes people don't always invest in that. But regardless of your financial situation, whether you have a savings account or not, or whether you are deemed financially stable and well off, medical is the one thing that can change your financial situation overnight. You can set all kind of plans and insurance in place for other things, like a car accident or something happens with the house. But if you break your leg, like I broke my ankle 8 months ago, right? At that point, you need surgery, you need medication. So most of the time, you're going to choose to get back to wellness over saving, over investing, over working. So make sure that in your strategy, your budget, your plan, you make some provisions for the medical piece, because regardless of how hard you work, that can change overnight if you don't take care of that one fundamental piece. Because we never know when we're going to get sick, and we never know when something's going to happen.
And actually, she made a great point by bringing in insurance. Insurance is an investment as well.
Yes.
You got annuities, you got whole life policies, you got policies out there that you could, I don't want to get into different policies and stuff like that, but you have things that you can use. You need life insurance anyway.
Yeah.
Think about it, you at the age of 30, it's going to be a whole lot cheaper than when you're 40.
You're right. I've been in, I don't have it, so I do need to get it.
And you can start putting money into it now that's being invested. You can have it even track the indexes that we just spoke about.
Really? That's a great point you just brought up of using insurance as an investment, and that goes back to, again, having a strategy, a plan, and the education. A lot of cultures, I've heard many of stories of some of our Asian brothers and sisters. The first generation, when they come over, they may not make a lot of money, but what they do is they will get a whole life policy for $1 million, and they will do whatever they have to do to make sure that it stays paid, okay? So that whenever the first person exits physical form, everybody else is taken care of. And they make sure that they have education, and they always encourage them to have their own businesses. So that $1 million will propel that next generation to another level.
One of the things that you hit on that I wanted to point out is that when she spoke about that first generation person, one of the things that plagues our community is that we never think about the next generation.
No.
Right.
You know,
Generational
like
wealth.
I was doing I did an internship down in Austin, Texas, right, at a wealth management firm. And all these clients were, they were multimillionaires, and they was in there, they weren't even talking about themselves. They were planning for the next generation. Kids they haven't even seen yet. We want to make sure they're taken care of. We want to make sure blah, blah. I want to make sure my son or daughter, when they get to this age, they're going to have this much. But you sit around, well, I had to work for it. You got to work
Exactly.
for it. I worked hard.
that's
Divided.
I'm not going to sit
That's
here and
true.
work hard so you can come off and you don't even call me, you don't even come see me, then they don't care.
But that's changing, I must say, and
You
that's
gotta
why
look
we're
at
having
money.
these conversations. That's
Money-
definitely changing.
Money never disappears; it just goes somewhere else.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
shifts from hand to hand.
So if you don't give it to somebody else got it.
Yeah.
Your kids may not have it, but maybe that ex-boyfriend, somebody else down the line states somebody else got it. So
That's true.
that's the way. That's one thing that she hit, that she came in. It's not too many people that's like, hey, I'm going to struggle my whole life and die,
Right.
so y'all can be good. It's not too many people that are saying that.
Yeah.
And that was a key point that she said that, hey, they went in and they're pretty much planning for the next generation.
And here's another point about the insurance, right? So regarding the whole and the term, that's something else that we need to look at, because when you're budgeting, insurance is a monthly bill, a monthly expense, or at least every 6 months or annual, however you pay it.
Yeah.
But it's an expense. So for me, it is, because I'm in my 30s, it's better for me to have term, right? Because the expense is a lot lower. I still have the $250,000 if I leave, then the next person that I wanted to go to is fine. But if I were to choose to bring a child into the world, then they will have whole. Because you can use that whole as an investment vehicle for them, so that by the time they are 25 or 30,
There's something that you're saying that I'm missing, that I'm not understanding.
there's 2 types of life insurance. There's
Uh-huh.
whole and there's term.
Okay.
A lot of times people will use whole life insurance policies as an investment vehicle.
Now keep in mind, the whole life is more expensive.
But what
It
is
is
that?
more.
What is whole? Like
It
I'm
pretty much like a term, right? It's exactly what it says, a term. It's only good for 30 years. Whole life takes you to 100.
Oh, so like whole. Okay.
so
Yeah,
if
whole
you
life.
have whole and then you have a child, they're covered under that policy?
No. I, for
Okay,
myself, will choose term
Okay.
because it's less expensive.
Okay.
For the child, if they're coming in and they're healthy, right, and 0 years, that's what they'll put on the policy, 0 years of age, 6 months old, they will have a whole life insurance policy. It's gonna be less because they're a child, nothing's wrong with them, right? But then it's an investment vehicle in that the money that you contribute, they're going to invest that. And it is going to grow to a certain amount, and by the time they get 25 or 30, it's paid for, but if you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars.
So
Let me break it so you can
Yeah,
maybe help maybe
it's
so you
coming.
can apply. Like take me for example, right? When I went and got insurance, right? So like you guys probably most of you probably don't know, but I'm actually doing military in the Navy, right? So I've been in the Navy. Okay, you get $400,000,
That's
right?
a great point. We need to talk
So-
about that after you finish this point.
Then once you're done with the military, I've been in 13 years now since I was 18. But once you're done with the military, they're done with you. It's like that 400,000 goes away, or whatever. So when I went in insurance, I'm a life insurance agent as well, life and health insurance agent as well. But when I went and got insurance, for example, the term was going to cost me $30. Whole life cost me $120.
Okay.
$120. So that's a big difference. 120 versus 30. The term at 30 years, it'd have been way cheaper. But at 30 years, it's like, okay, you didn't die, move on, and you can renew it, or whatever the case may be. But with the whole life, it covers me my whole life, and also I have a cash value. Because some of it covers my premium, and now my whole life is a cash value. And the cash that is saving up inside of it.
I think what's getting me is, so once you hit 30, if you had whole from infancy, once you hit age 30, are you saying that you don't have to make any more payments?
Because
What are we
your
saying?
premiums could be paid up depending on your policy. I want to get into detail. I let her. I know she has something to add into it. So.
Well, regarding that, with the whole life insurance policy, you can also remember he just mentioned cash value. That cash value continues to grow
How?
because they're investing it.
So the life insurance people
Yes.
are taking your money and they're investing it for you.
They can take it, they can track that index that we just spoke
Yes.
about. It's called-
The other side to that is you can get to a place where you don't pay premiums because it's being paid out of the cash value.
I can have,
Oh, okay.
because I'm paying all this extra money, I can, like, say if I hit a hard time today, all my income stopped, I don't have nothing. I can take my cash value and have them pay my premiums. You know what I'm saying?
So basically, it's better to be whole then, right?
It depends
Well, it
on your
depends.
age.
Okay.
So that's why I said for
And
a
income.
child, right?
And income, yeah.
And that's why I said for a child. So let's take that very same scenario that he said. A child is going to be cheaper because they're a baby. Nothing's wrong with them. Most of the time, they keep the rate at about whatever you locked it in at. And then if you were paying that over 18 years or 25 years, when that child turns 25, the cash value is significant. So that if they need to use that cash value, he said, if I come on hard times, I can use the cash value. For a child that goes from infancy to 25, that's more than a down payment on a house. That's more than
Y'all dropping gems. Y'all dropping.
So life insurance is also an investment. Because think about it, you will never meet a financial company that doesn't do insurance. Because think about like Warren Buffett, right? People that look at Warren Buffett and they would say, man, he just invested in good stocks and held on to them. But how did he live? He had to have some type of income. His biggest income, he was an insurance guy. So every day we pay our insurance, right?
Yeah.
That's a cash flow for somebody.
Yep.
You know, you don't have a car wreck, somebody's got that cash flow. So he can take that cash flow and just buy stocks and just hold on to them, hold them for 30, 40 years. Because I have a constant cash flow. I own Geico. You know how much cash flow this is? You know, everybody in here is paying some type of insurance.
Yes.
And I had, when last time you had a wreck, right? Because no matter what you do, that life insurance policy is creating cash flow for a finance company. And that finance company go and take around and invest that money to do X, Y, Z.
and they're in the business of making money from your money in as many ways as they possibly can. I go back to my corporate background. When I was in corporate America many years ago, I used to do audit work, and in doing that, I would audit the cash management area. The company would take whatever money they made that day, so however many millions of dollars they made that day, they would invest it overnight in foreign markets. And the next morning, by open of business, they would have a significant increase through overnight investing strategy. So the reason why I bring that up is we have to think about how can we make things work for us. He just mentioned that he was in the military. I'm a veteran. It's a lot of us that are walking around that join the military at 18, 19, 20 for college money or for the experience or for job skills. And after we disconnect from the military, we think that's it for the benefits. Well, there are a lot of perks and a lot of ways that you can navigate your financial situation using that veteran or prior service status. And we don't tap into that. That's another vehicle that we need to revisit for those of us that have those benefits or have loved ones that may have been in the military as well.
Wow.
So, you know, like you gotta
I'm
see,
taking it back.
like people can purchase insurance for their children and, you know, and stuff like that, because at the end of the day, Buffett, you gotta think about it, right? If everybody look at Donald Trump, they never look at Fred Trump.
Right.
That's it.
Everybody look at, that's his dad.
Okay.
Dad died with worth 300 million. That was how long ago? So you do inflation, you're talking about probably close to $1 billion. Everybody talks about Warren Buffett, they never talk about Howard Buffett. His dad. Dad was a stockbroker. His dad didn't own a brokerage firm. His dad was a politician. You know what I mean? So people like to say, oh, Warren just came out of nowhere and just started with a gumball machine and worked his way up. Now he's one of the best investors of all time. No, he was born into that, right? My dad was a broker. You know, he's not like he just came off the streets or whatever, right? So that's one of the things about his generations that's passed down. Look at Bill Gates. You can't look at his dad's name. You gotta look at who his mother is.
And
where she come from.
Even with his kids, he's set up a certain type of dynamic in raising them to where they're getting that financial acumen, but they're also getting that hustle and that skill so that whatever they acquire, they'll be able to be wealthy.
Think about it, right? Money changes your mindset.
Yeah.
Right?
Hopefully.
Bill Gates, it should be in a positive way. You're more, you become a bigger risk taker when you have money, when you have something to fall back on.
Sure.
Like when Bill Gates is sitting in his garage, playing around with electronics, how's he making money? Right? He had to have some type of, income or some type of stability. When, if you're 18 years old, you got $1 million trust fund, your brain starts to wonder, maybe I can fly planes. Maybe I can create something. Maybe I can do this. Maybe I could, you know what I mean?
It frees you up.
It frees you.
Yeah.
Whereas the average person, they're trying to go to college. Because you got to think about, people don't go to college to learn. They go to college to get a job.
Yeah.
They go to college to get a job. Whereas I'm going to college to learn so I can go run my dad's business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm going to college. I'm really there trying to learn. I'm not really concerned about the grades. I just want to help my dad make the right connections, take what my dad's doing to the next level.
Yeah.
Versus other people just there to just get a job. They're working 2 or 3 jobs on the side. They're just there to pass.
That's where we fall off, though.
To pass.
I'm not even trying to learn. I'm just trying to pass so I get this piece of paper. I heard this piece of paper. It increases my possibility of getting this job.
Well, let me say this, because God, this conversation is so meaty. We kind of have to wrap it up.
Okay.
But I want to invite both of you back on, because I think this is something that we can delve into more frequently. Like I said, Black Balance, we cover a lot of things, and we can talk once we are off the air, but maybe we'll have you guys on once a year, once a quarter, or just, but I think it's something that this is crucial for our community. And as you can see, it's improving. Like, you can see the strides that I'm making, the strides that Cammie is making. I think that there is hope, but I think that we have to do a better job of creating that hope, and I think through education sometimes that hope can be grown. So that being said, I want to take a moment to talk about your YouTube channel, your social media. Tell people about your book, Wesley Learns to Invest. Like, give us drop some nuggets for us about you.
Oh, me,
Prince, yes.
like I told you guys earlier, I from Waynesboro, Georgia, and been in the Navy now for 13 years. I got my little hinge in finance when I was a logistics specialist. I started off on submarines, and that kind of gave me a little oomph about finances right out of high school. And I went on while serving when I got my master's in business, when I got my Series 65 license, which is federal investment advisor, when I got my Series 63, which is federal security agent, and then when I got life, health, accident insurance. And I'm currently still in school now. I'm doing CFP, Certified Financial Planner at Bryant University. And along the way, I created a YouTube channel. The number 1 E-Trade channel that's out there is called the Investors Channel. We're sitting over now 6,000 subscribers now on YouTube. We have a Facebook page. I started a company, Royal Financial Investment Group, right after finishing grad school in 2012. Right now, it's social media. We have about 5,000. I could learn about 5,000 followers there on social media on our different outlets, and another 1,000 on Twitter. So we've seen a little bit over 12,000 on that. I invested last year into a brewing company called the Walk Brewing Company, based out of Reading, Pennsylvania. I invested into a London art company called the Global Gallery, and I created an app, the world's first venture capitalist app called IBOA, IABOH, which is pretty much like Shark Tank for the regular people.
What does it stand for?
Investors and Business Owners Hub. It's on Google Play, all Google Play and Android devices and Apple
But I
devices.
like how you explained it. Let's stay on that app for a second. Let me articulate it back to you. You correct me if I'm wrong. So basically, the purpose of your app, say somebody, regular Joe like me or Cammie, we go to Shark Tank, we make our pitch, doesn't get picked up, they don't invest. So instead of just stopping, you have this app, IABOH, where we can go on there and find other private investors, and it connects people in that way.
Yeah, it's like LinkedIn for investors, right?
I like that.
So it's like, say for example, that was thanks to Candace Clinton. She explained it to me better. She's like, it's like LinkedIn.
Who said that?
Yeah, her name is Candace Clinton. She probably don't even know.
Credit to Candace Clinton.
So she was like, it's like LinkedIn. I was like, yeah, exactly. That's kind of what it is. That's pretty much what it is.
Okay.
And I created that because I met a shark 2 years ago in Hawaii. And we got to talking. It's like, well, you just find some investors. I'm like, is there a sign that says investors? Or is it a street? Is it investors? Where do you go?
Right.
Find clubs,
Exactly.
find the angels.
Right.
They hang out together. You just
Yeah.
have to find them.
They're like, okay, but you got to kind of like network your way in and kind of because think about it, right? I don't need a Shark Tank investor to raise $5,000, $10,000, right? So I just may need a school teacher, a police officer, a firefighter, or whatever the case may be. Now you have that school teacher now could invest into, let's say with me, I have a cartoon as well. They can invest into my cartoon, and now they could be receiving royalties of 25% or whatever from that, or they can help me publish my next book, and now they can be receiving royalties.
And so that's what your app does. Your app
yes,
empowers
regular people, regular people to where it's like, hey, I don't need to find a multi-millionaire to help me launch this product. Maybe it's somebody in New York that think that I got an awesome idea. Maybe we can connect and we can do it that way. So that was the premise about the app. Then I wrote, like you guys see here, I published the world's first investment book for children. I published it last year. It's been out now for.
What's it called?
Wesley Learns to Invest. Think about Wesley. Wesley's my 5-year-old son, and he's 5 now. So it's.
But you know what's gonna happen, right?
What's gonna happen?
Everybody's gonna be talking about Wesley Dykes.
It's.
Nobody can be talking about right.
He didn't have a clue what's going on, right? You know. But yeah, it's an interactive story that I published last year. You know, where we get to, it's a father-son story about me getting in, and you know, my wife is in it as well a little bit, but she don't have a line. She's mad about me. It's like, you know, it was so many mother-son stories. What about father-son stories? So
You can give her one line.
Give her one line.